omnibus editions to talk about today. The first one is a big old tome by DC. It is DC's 0 Hour Crisis in Time, the 25th anniversary omnibus. It's pretty cool. It's another one of their big crossover events, as you can tell by the inclusion of the word crisis, usually a dead giveaway. So this one came out sort of in the mid-90s. It was one of their big sort of crossover events that was sort of meant to streamline the continuity, sort of change things in the timeline, shift things up a bit. It's pretty cool. So basically, it was kind of their big the second big event to sort of use the crisis a word in there, following, of course, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which we talked about a little bit a little while back. This one's pretty cool. It's, like I said, it's one of those big, all-encompassing, massive, epic sagas. I can't even read to you the number of issues that it includes, just because it's literally like one issue for per big old handful of different titles. Essentially, it would take forever to read them off. But you got an issue of Action Comics in there, an issue of Detective Comics, Dark Stars, Batman, Shadow of the Bat, Catwoman, just all sorts of stuff. The cool thing about this omnibus is that it's definitely pulling its omnibus weight, if you will, in that it's the complete thing. Recollects every single chapter, as it boasts here, in order, which is fantastic, because it can be kind of a pain to sort of set all that stuff in order if you're collecting it issue by issue. Or if you have various smaller volumes. Yeah, this has every single chapter that they did, which is each of those various issues, in chronological order, including various ones that apparently have never been collected in any of the volumes that they've done before. It is, to say the least, the most complete edition of this book that they've put out. And yeah, it definitely led to a lot of really interesting DC-centric changes down the line. Like I said, a lot of their big events are sort of meant to sort of shift the universe and create changes. This one deals a lot with time travel, very cosmic-y as well. So you get, you sort of see the seeds set for things like, like Parallax and Green Lantern. It's pretty crazy. I can see that for the first time. Yeah, it's big, it's massive, and look at the trade dress on there. It's very vibrant. I love the spine actually too. You've got all that color. It really pops. It's a great looking book, and yeah, if you're definitely nostalgic for some of that 90s DC big events, like this is a great way to go. Something big and crazy, full of time travel. What else we got? So we've also got a little while back, we did a volume that Marvel's been doing. They've been doing re-releases or omnibus collections of some of their Timely books, back when they were called Timely in like the 30s and 40s and that sort of thing, sort of pre-World War II into World War II. And the first one they did was a collection of the original Submariner stories, which were very cool. I kind of love that they do, take that sort of Golden Age era stuff and sort of collect it into nice volumes. Great treatment. So this week we've got the new volume of Timely's Greatest. This is the Golden Age of Simon and Kirby. Now, they were very involved. Those are two of the major contributors to sort of the war era comics of the Golden Age, in the 30s and the 40s, most of the 40s. And we got both volumes here. We've got the regular version as well as the DM variant. These tend to be a bit more limited, even though it's the same cover price. And cool, yeah. And again, you're getting some of more of those sort of World War II era things. You're getting inclusions of certain like Captain America and the Submariner. It's giving you more of that great stuff. And Joe Simon and Jack Kirby, the two creators of Captain America, as well as other characters from that time that were pretty similar to Captain America. This one gives you Daring Mystery Comics 1 through 3 and 6 through 8, Red Raven Comics number 1, Marvel Mystery Comics 12 through 25, The Human Torch number 2, Captain America Comics 1 through 10, so that very original stuff, including the iconic number 1 where he's slugging Hitler in the face. You can kind of see it briefly in Captain America, the First Avenger, the film. You got All Winners Comics 1 and 2, USA Comics 1 through 3, Young Allies Comics 1, and Mystic Comics 7. And of course, the All Winners stuff is pretty great. It's collections of these heroes like Submariner, like Cap and Bucky, fighting the Nazis and stuff like that, and sort of cleaning up even post World War II, when they continued to do that sort of thing. Although Cap was frozen in the ice, didn't quite make it to all the way post World War II, but he came back. He got there eventually. So these are great. It's wonderful hardback, full color reproductions of these. They've remastered them too. just really giving them a loving touch in reprinting those stories that really are sort of the origin of what we consider the modern superhero. It all kind of started earlier in the pulp characters, the masked vigilantes, and eventually they became wartime propaganda, and sort of out of that World War II sensibility sort of defined our idea about what a hero was, at least at that time, this standing for truth and justice and the American way and that sort of stuff. Very much captured here, but you also get complex sort of anti-hero stuff like Submariner as well, who's sort of stuck between two worlds and it's not always happiest about it. But yeah, this is great. Come check this out. These are $150 cover price. Like always, we take those 10% off. Just to jump back real quick, the $150 cover price on the 0 Hour Crisis in Time as well. And those are the two new omnibus releases we have this week. Since it is October, and I keep talking about just how into Halloween in October I am, I wanted to make sure to actually have something sort of dark and spooky to showcase for you as well. And I thought about, I recently started reading a series called Lock and Key, and now if you've been reading comics, you're probably aware of what Lock and Key is, but it's a wonderful comic series by Joe Hill that kind of exploded his name in popularity in the comics world. You may know him also as the son of Stephen King, and he very much has a Stephen King-esque style to his work, although you could call it a bit more streamlined. But they've come out with so many different editions of Lock and Key, but I wanted to show you sort of the biggest and the fanciest of them. This is IDW's Red Label edition of Lock and Key Volume 2. Now, out of the 6 volumes they've done, it's the only volume to be given the Red Label treatment. To my knowledge, it's kind of out of print. This is Volume 2. This is Head Games, which is a really interesting... So the premise of Lock and Key is basically this family, after a tragic death, are moved into their family's old estate back in, their hometown of Lovecraft, which that's your first red flag. If you want a normal life, you don't move to a town called Lovecraft. And yeah, upon entering this very old house, they're sort of allowed to wander, and they start to discover these strange-looking keys. And they've noticed that they go to very specific doors or compartments in the house, and when you use the key and you walk through, weird stuff happens. Different keys have different effects. And in the Volume 2, they discover the brain key, or the head key. I'm trying to remember which one they call that. Which is basically, as soon as you have the key, you can see a keyhole on the back of someone's head. You turn the key, their head literally pops off like a lid, and you can look down into their brain, into their mind, and see all these sort of conceptual embodiments of things like their fears or their memories or different emotions they have. It's very trippy, very cool. One of the wonderful things about Lock and Key is how imaginative it is, and hopefully we'll get to talk a bit more about Lock and Key in the coming future. We've got more. We actually got a restock of those volumes coming in, so keep an eye out. But this one is cool because, as you can tell, it is grandiose. It is a spectacle of an edition. Kind of more even involved than your typical like absolute editions, because yeah, I like that. It's kind of got the hardback slipcase nature of it. It's kind of got that kind of faux leather texture to it, so it makes it feel extra fancy, especially kind of golden paint inlay artwork on the front there and the title. It's pretty awesome too. It comes with, like I said, a big copy of the hardback copy of the book itself, as well as a replica of the brain key itself. And there's actually, as I saw online, there's actually a hidden compartment in there that kind of releases a big book version of the family journal, which is something in the story, but you kind of get a small replica of it here, and in it kind of chronicles each key and what it does. It kind of gives it to you sort of like an old journal with lore and stuff in it. It's a lot of fun, even if you don't go for this massive crazy tome. I highly recommend you check out that series, and hopefully I'll have some more of those volumes to show you in the future. This fancy pants thing sits at $280. Kind of a rare edition. It's really nice if you're a fan of really great art and really kind of atmospheric storytelling. Like, it's not the most horrific thing you'll ever read, but it definitely contains those elements of horror and darkness, as well as a very just imaginative lore that they create. Very creative story. So yeah, come check that out. And I think as far as dropping that extra 5%, we're going to put that extra 5% on the Timely's Greatest, and that'll give you 15% off this week only, as opposed to the standard 10, which the other volumes will be getting as well. But yeah, 15% off Timely's Greatest this week. And that's that. That's another episode of Omnicorner done. If you like it, you need to, you know, treat it as if you're a toddler. Just take this video or any of our store videos and just spread it around. Just pick them up and just spread them and cover your face in them and just spread them around. Share the videos around. That's basically what we're doing. Give us attention. We need attention. That's why we do this. That's why we put our face on screen.
You do realize that people move the peas around on the plate because they don't want to eat the peas. So you're basically using
talking about a baby. It's like a toddler.
A toddler just plays with its food. It doesn't actually eat it. So you're basically saying...
Spreads it around.
You're basically saying avoid the vegetables at all costs.
No, I'm saying spread the video around. Spread it around. Don't listen to Jesse. Listen to me. Spread the video around because we're so much fun. Also, if you need more awesome horror in your life, Marvel has been doing a wonderful job with Immortal Hulk, which issue 25 of Immortal Hulk just came out this week. Come check that out. There's some variant covers that are spectacularly, wonderful. But on the 29th, whatever the last Tuesday of the month is, as usual, we have our monthly book club that will be going on at Outlaw Moon Games and Toys, sort of after hours, and they're talking about Volume 1 of Immortal Hulk. So if you want a good way to sort of immerse yourself into some good spooky comics and talk about it with other spooky comic enthusiasts, you know, that's a great way to do it. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. So come check that out. Like I said, last Tuesday of the month. And yeah, we recently got a whole bunch of new stock and stuff in, you know, some back issues, some older figures, some Spawn figures. That's pretty cool. And yeah, whole big wide selection of stuff. So as always, I have been Omnibrennen, and as always, Omnis to the people. Thank you very much.